This video is for anyone that's been wanting to learn how to use a pendulum, something you use for dowsing. So, dowsing or using pendulums is a form of divination. Divination is something we do to get messages from a higher power, our higher self, or even our subconscious, or any guides, angels, loved ones in heaven. It's how we connect to other realms. You've probably heard of people using oracle cards and tarot cards, maybe using charm casting, looking up at the clouds, getting messages from animals out in nature or from plants. There's so many different ways that you can get information from outside of yourself, you're outside of your own conscious mind. And pendulums and dowsing just happens to be one of my personal absolute favorites. So I'll cover some more background information after I go through just the basics of how to get started using that pendulum. So the first thing you want to do is make sure that your elbow that you're using to douse is supported on a table so that nothing is going to move your arm at all, right? So that your arm is very, very still, so that it's just the pendulum that's moving, not you moving the pendulum. Next thing is have an opening question ceremony that's both practical and actually setting the intention of what you're doing. So I always begin every pendulum session asking the question, show me yes and show me no. Always ask this because depending on which pendulum you're using or whatever you're connecting to that day, or if you're doing it for someone else, the yes and the no will always switch and change constantly. So sometimes you need to be patient and give it a little bit of time, but eventually when you ask that question, you will start to see the pendulum is either going to go back and forward like this or in a circle. Doesn't matter which direction the circle, but it's going to be a circular motion and a back and forth motion. Now the next thing you're going to want to ask is, may I douse with you today? Or may I douse for Maria? Or may I check Maria's chakras with this pendulum? So you're giving specific instructions in that question as to how you're going to use that pendulum and seeing if it's okay to go ahead. Now, always ask permission, because there has been times where I've asked every single pendulum in my house if I can use it and it says no. So there's something blocking me, or there's some reason why I'm not supposed to ask questions that day or at that time. Maybe it's something in my own frequency, maybe there's something interfering with me, maybe I'm not supposed to know anything that I wanted to ask that day. I don't know. I can't tell you why. All I know is that I always ask permission, and the odd time I'm told no. So that's really important. Now, when you're beginning on this journey, it's very important that you start to build your confidence in the tool of this type of divination. And that can take, some people maybe a couple days or weeks, but other people it could take a couple of years. For me, it took years. So I'm super confident I don't do this really anymore. But at the beginning, for the first few years, I always did this. And this is asking confirmation questions. So you want to see if you're actually connected to your energy with the pendulum. So if your connection is not good, you're not going to get the right answers. So I just give you an example. If my name is Linda, right? So if I ask the pendulum, is my name Monica? And if it's saying yes, then I have a bad connection. I might ask, is today Friday when it's Sunday? And if it says yes, then I don't have a good connection. But if it's giving me the right yes or no questions, then I know I'm good to go ahead. Now, since this is an energetic tool, a frequency tool, there is some best practices as well. So I always charge my pendulums or any divination tools that I'm using, like oracle cards or even crystals. I will charge them with Kundalini Reiki. So I'll hold them in my hand and I will do the activation prayer to charge the divination tool. This has brought on my answers, my confidence, my connection, leaps and bounds, especially with tarot and oracle cards, but even with the pendulum. And if that's not something you know how to do and you want to learn more about how to charge divination tools, you can check out my Stan Store link that is there, and there is a course on there called Energy Healing for Families and People with ADHD, and that is a very basic 101 course on how to do the most simple but profound energy healing technique in the world. It's got a lot of other uses, like getting your kids to bed within 5 to 10 minutes maximum, using to do meditation if you've never been able to meditate before because your mind is very busy, using it in times of illness or extreme stress, you really need to check out energy healing if you haven't been attuned to any modalities yet. And even if you have, Kundalini Reiki is the best as far as I'm concerned for a beginner, for someone that has ADHD, someone that wants to use it on their kids, someone that wants to program different divination tools. Okay, so this is also a tool that we need to cleanse from time to time. So you can use some sacred smoke like from sage or Palo Santo or even incense. You could use a smudge spray or even essential oils would work. You can also keep it permanently placed somewhere on a selenite bowl or plate. Selenite is a crystal that amplifies and clears energy and recharges the item as well. So selenite is really the number one thing to use to do that as far as a crystal is concerned. You could also wash it under some water, but anytime I put my Kundalini Reiki energy healing into the pendulum, that's going to cleanse it and charge it at the same time. So I get all those benefits from just doing my quick little ritual of Kundalini Reiki to charge it. Now, there's also so many different things that you can use pendulums for. So I actually have, I don't know how many pendulums in my collection. I started off with one, and over time, I think I probably have about 15 of them around, or maybe more. I don't even know. I have one with my flower remedies kit that I use for aura sprays to see which flower remedy me or my family needs. I have another one that I keep with my tarot deck, my main tarot deck. I have one in my oil box. I have one specifically for family members in heaven, and pets that have previously gone to spirit world if I want to connect with their energy, if I want to ask them questions. I have different pendulums for different ascended masters that I connect to. I have a different pendulum that I use to ask questions for other people. I have one for doing energy healing treatments. I have loads of pendulums. So there's no limit to what you can do with the pendulums, or how many you could have in your collection. But basically, just know that if you want to have an answer to something, that's when you can get your pendulum out. It's also really good to use a pendulum to double check if you're finding it hard to make a decision, if you're uncertain about a tarot or oracle card reading you've done for yourself, or even just what supplements you need, what essential oils you need, what Bosch flower remedies do you need. These are all things that are great to use a pendulum. In fact, I know some people that use pendulums to find items that have lost in their home, or even, as we all know, there is people that use dowsing rods which are similar to pendulums to look for like where there's water. But you could use a pendulum to see like, is there any energetic disturbances in your house or things like in your environment? You can ask questions like that. Another thing you can do is you can use the pendulum to ask who is guiding the pendulum. So you can just ask like, who is it? You can also set a special prayer, intention, or ritual at the start to only call upon benevolent beings for your highest good and the highest good of all concerned. If you're afraid of any interferences that are coming. Now, when I do my Kundalini Reiki energy healing charge, that's part of the statement that I do. But it is good to always, set yourself with energetic protection and spiritual hygiene when you're working with divination tools. There's different materials that you can get pendulums in. So this particular one, I just happen to have this one up by my desk. This is a resin one with crystal chips and a coil. So these are very strong. But personally, I love metal pendulums. The bigger and the heavier, the better. I also have some crystal pendulums, which I tend to use more for energy work. And for asking yes and no questions for other people, I tend to stick to the metal as well. So just to wrap up, you want to develop your confidence with this. It's going to possibly take some time, but try and do it from a relaxed state. Set a sacred space around you by lighting some incense, diffusing your essential oils, doing a quick essential oil and gratitude practice or oils and breathwork practice so that you're in a high frequency when you're connecting to the pendulum. Okay? That's really important. And just have fun. Enjoy the process. Don't let it stress you out. It's really a spiritual practice that should bring you a lot of joy and inner confidence, because if we know we have tools that will help us get answers to things, we start to have more feeling of control over what's going on in our lives. Okay, if you want to know more, check out the link in my bio or follow my page and you will get loads more details and helpful tips like this.